Quite the interesting day today. First day in a long time that we've actually seen the Bears have some momentum. I mean, the Bulls came out pretty strong this morning, but pretty much after 10:15, they never really regained confidence and momentum. About here at noon, it looked pretty convincing on this run up right here, but by 1:15, that candle got ate up pretty good, and then it was all downhill from there. So the question remains, is this the Bulls finally actually losing momentum after we saw yesterday where they really didn't have any momentum after the run up, or was this just a gap fill? We'll find out tomorrow, I guess. So looking at the daily, you can see we had this big old red rising wedge that I've been watching. We finally broke out of it. I mean, we opened over it. So I had mentioned in futures last night that they were already through that, so I suspected that we would go up today too. But we did go up. I mean, we gapped up pretty good. But after that, we pretty much just retraced. We are finding support right here at 420. Today was actually a pretty interesting close. We closed exactly at 0% and 0% move. This is the first time I can remember in a very long time that SPY has closed exactly 0%. Doesn't happen very often, that's for sure. So basically on the daily, there's not a whole lot going on right now. Key things to watch for tomorrow. Tomorrow being Friday, so we got our weekly candle closing, which is going to be important to watch going into next week to kind of give us an idea of where we're going. The one thing I'm seeing here is we have this big like run up here, and then we have a big candle. It's not quite hammer candle, it's more just your standard candle, but failure to continue and closing back down here is pretty bearish, especially the futures candle. I mean, this one was a massive gravestone doji, so that's something that I want to keep an eye on for tomorrow, as that can be a reversal. The SPY daily doesn't really play out like that though, but tomorrow I want to see what happens down here at 417.5. This is the daily 200 EMA. It's a very important level. We're either going to bounce off it like we did yesterday on the 10th, or we're going to close back under it. And if we close back under the 200 EMA after trying to break out of it, to me that would be a pretty bearish omen going into next week. What I'm kind of talking about here is we broke over, kind of ran up, and then we came back and tested it and we held support, and then from there we went up from the 100 EMA. Same thing right here with the daily 8 EMA. We kind of went up, we came back, tested it, and we went up. So that's what the pattern I'm going to be looking for. If we can bounce and go up, then I'm pretty confident next week we're going for 430s. But if we close back under 417.5, I would be more apt to think that we're going to go back down here. Definitely get this gap fill in next week. So key support is 417.5, and then we have down here at 412.3. The actual gap fill is 412.75. So that'll be the levels I'm watching to see if we do gap fill it. Obviously, if we gap fill that tomorrow, it's a pretty impressive day to be able to gap fill that. Let's see how much that's going to be exactly. Yeah, think about a 1.8% negative day, which we've not had a type of day like that until June 28th was the last time that we had any sort of big red day. We've had a couple like negative 1.1s here and there, but most of our red days have all been under pretty close to like negative 0.5. So that's something I'll be watching tomorrow. Support-wise, we're right here at this 420 right now, so the next resistance is going to be right here at 423, and then tomorrow if we continue to move up, we'll be looking at 426.2. That's about all I'm really watching right now on the daily. If we do fall through 417.5 tomorrow, it's interesting because it is at this red support line right here, so that'll be key to watch. Falling through that support and through the bull support would be very, very bearish, especially if we come down here into like the 415s. So definitely something to keep an eye on for tomorrow if you're looking to swing for next week. Weekly wise, actually looks a little more bullish than it does bearish. We did break through this resistance line up here, so that is pretty bullish. You would think that's going to be a continuation breaking through resistance line. So, but once we broke through that, we pretty much never saw it again. We just fell back down. So most important support level right here is this 415. 417.5 is very important on the daily, but on the weekly, 415 is key. If they close this under 415 tomorrow, that's going to be very bearish going into the weekend. That's going to mean that pretty much all the all the momentum that they had from down here is now fizzled out. And we'll actually get a gravestone. If we do that, we'll actually get a gravestone doji on the, kind of like we had right about here, on the weekly too. It actually looked pretty much just like this. If we come back down, we're going to get a gravestone like this. So that'll be interesting to watch. Those are my two most important levels. Resistance-wise, it doesn't really matter tomorrow because we're not really going to step out to like 432. That'd be a pretty crazy green day. And looking at the last week of trading now, I don't think there's nearly enough momentum for that. The only thing I could think of that would make us shoot up that high would be shorts covering end of day, but I would expect that more with next week with monthly options expiring. But that's my most important levels to watch. Futures, same thing. We broke out of the rising wedge, but we found support here at 4208. That's going to be the most important support level to watch. Like I said, we have this big old gravestone doji, which we had a gravestone doji here and here, but it wasn't quite the same setup because we were kind of inside the candle, but now we are set up on top of it. So that should be more of a reversal candle than a continuation candle. Like down here, we just kind of trended down. But I mean, it's kind of almost like down here where we had this big sell-off, but not. This is even more of a reversal. But you can see right now futures are holding. They're exactly even right now at 0%, but they did get a little bump up to about 42.20. So outside of that, support's going to be down here at 41.57. This is the same thing as that 417.5 on the SPY daily. So this level right here pretty much says we're in a bull channel or we're not in a bull channel. Resistance wise, we're going to be looking back up here at 42.62. That was pretty much the high of day today. Weekly, same thing. We had a nice breakout of the rising wedge here, but we immediately fell back down. So we're going to be looking down here at 41.62, 41.60. That'll be the key level to watch if we see a retracement today, or not, I guess now tomorrow. On Apple, same thing with Apple. It kind of started going up. Apple looked pretty strong out of the gate, but by the end of the day, it lost everything it had. So we closed back under this 169.3 support. We didn't quite make it down here to 167.6, but that's the key support to watch tomorrow. We did want gap fill obviously the intraday gap. The next gap fill is down here at 165.82. Let's see what kind of day we need for that. Be a 1.6% red day, so that's not really out of the picture for Apple. See if we can get that tomorrow. But key support is definitely down here at 164. I don't suspect we're going to go that low. That would actually be a pretty impressive red day to come all the way down here. And as you see, we don't really get many of those. We had one right here, a nice 2% day right here, but we don't really get too many of those big red days. I mean, it'd almost be about a negative 3% day, 2.5 to 3% day to get all the way down here. But weekly wise, not a lot going on. So the most important levels here are going to be 169.3 and 167.7. We break through here, I'm going to be looking for a 165 bounce. The VIX is still in these two falling wedges here. You can see that support, or I guess it would be kind of the upper level, the 19.7 that I mentioned yesterday. We actually continued to bounce off that today and held that, and we're seeing a double bottom here. So this will be interesting tomorrow to see if we continue to break through or if we're going to start trending up. We don't really have a whole lot of new fear, in my opinion, to make us trend up. The only thing that we really have upcoming next week is, though, the FOMOC minutes. Besides that, though, there's really nothing that I would think to induce new fear into the market, unless obviously something comes out with the feds or something like that. But I mean, we pretty much already are assuming we're getting a 50 basis point hike, and that we know CPI is apparently peaking. So there's really not a lot of new information that, in my opinion, would make us just spike out of nothing. So again, I hesitate going super short in this market or trying to do any type of long-term puts yet because we still have not broke this downtrend. If we can get convincingly back into the mid 22s, I would believe in a possible breaking of the downtrend, but even then I would still struggle to really want to play it. To really sell a reversal of trend here, I mean, we're probably going to need to be up in the 25s to be honest, just because, I mean, we could just even assume this is a channel at this point. So that's kind of where I'd like to be to consider going short. If we do it, the fear is going to be pretty quick, I think, and it'll be a pretty big drop, so I think you'll have time to get in on it. And if we do dump, I mean, we have a lot of gaps left. I mean, we filled the one. We had 4 when we opened this morning, but I mean, we have a gap right here at 412.75, and then we have one right here all the way down to 378.57, and we even have this one all the way down here at 369.38. So we have 1, 2, 3 gaps left in the daily here. Apple still has 2. At some point they're going to fill. Whether we touch here or not first, I don't know. Something interesting that someone brought up today was that the 425-ish level that we hit this morning was about 50% retracement total, which that doesn't really add up in my head here. So hold on, let me calculate this myself here. Okay, so 421.09 is exactly a 50% retracement, basically from top to bottom of this bear market that we're in. So people are saying, apparently looking at historical bear markets, that 50% level has been about the max that we rally to. So usually once we hit that, we kind of hard stop, which technically if you look at yesterday, I mean, we hit 420.14 and then we stopped there. And then today we opened up over that level, but we immediately closed below it. So that's kind of something interesting, this 420 level right here to watch, to see how that interacts, if we can continue to close over it or if it's going to continue to be resistance or not. But all right, guys, I hope you guys have a good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for tuning into this video. If you like the video, go ahead and like and follow me just to support the page. I provided my Discord link here. This is the lifetime link, so sometimes there's issues with this. If you have any issues, just go ahead and send me a message and I'll get you a temporary link that'll work. Some benefits of the Discord is I do a pre-market update with some key support and resistance levels to watch. Throughout the day, I'm on there doing live commentary on SPY and the general market with updates about key levels that are broken. I also do live trade alerts. Currently, it's $20 per month or $228 for the year. If you want to follow me, I'm on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Reddit under Daddy Dersh. Thank you.